without further ado, let's get right into it. Guys, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here in sunny. It's okay today. Got some very light clouding, which is nice, reflects the sun. And we have only 2.4 amps outside. Make it 3.3. Yeah guys, in today's video we want to have a look at the EEL 48 volt do-it-yourself kit. And I promise you this will be the last video for quite a while that we have a look at do-it-yourself boxes. No further case reviews, nothing. But I thought the Yi Shiying and the EEL 12 volt do-it-yourself box are still in our mind, so we can really compare the 48 volt box with what we have seen in previous videos. So yeah, and without further ado, let's have a look. So first thing I noticed with all the EEL products is that they have rounded corners. Yeah, that is so nice. You may remember the vertical battery box we have tested a while back. This was completely curved on all edges. And I really like these curves here. That feels so good. All four corners are rounded, pretty much very similar to the 12 volt box as well. And pretty much taking off the lid of this 48 volt box, we can see the two PCBs across the battery cells. I have already removed the screws and all the accessories, screws, BMS, everything is nicely packed in cardboard boxes here. Very well secured inside the box. And also on top were these two envelopes with some cash. I assume, damn it, why wouldn't I put some cash in here, right? 4 screws. The big one. What? Just a metal banded bracket holder situation? Still no cash. So, and here we have all the accessories this box comes with. This is pretty much everything. So this is a true do-it-yourself box. As you can see, there are lots of bits and pieces you have to put together. Even the handles on the outside of the box are not mounted yet. With all this being in the box, someone has forgotten to put these 4 screws in it and this metal holder bracket thingy, whatever it is. So that's why we had these 2 cash envelopes on top of the box. But yeah, there was no cash in it. And look at this BMS here, the JK Inverter BMS. It has now a piece of cardboard underneath. And then there are all the cables, connection cables and the communication board. And this one is a much cleaner solution now, I like it. Very good. So obviously we've got the PB2A16S20P, the 200 amp BMS from JK. Belonging to that we also have the large 4-inch or 4.3 inch, I think it's a 4-inch display with connection cable. We also have an RS485 or RS232 adapter to connect the battery to your computer. You will need this to do all the firmware updates, for example. Connection cables made of 3-gauge wire, or what do we have here? 2 6-gauge wires in parallel. And I think they have also sent me these ones here, these flexible bus bars, and we don't have to use these silicon cables here. Even I really like them, they are super flexible. Yeah, talking about flexible, we've got flexible bus bars for all the battery cells now, and they have the threaded insert for the balance cable, so you can see the little hole, M3 insert. That is beautiful. We also have the circuit breaker situation with so it comes with this protection cover here to the front, and the circuit breaker will sit behind that. What do we have? We have the CHCYZ0 or O, whatever. It's a 250 amp circuit breaker, 12 to 125 volt DC, and we have a breaking capacity. It doesn't say. Okay. And the breaker also comes with this mounting bracket for the front plate, some screws. We've got the usual M8 terminals. But as you can see, we have only 1 terminal each. But this plastic cover comes with 2 outlets. So if you have more than one of these boxes, you have to wire all your connection cables between the batteries to 1 terminal only. And we also have the usual epoxy sheets. More epoxy sheets here between the battery cells. A whole stack of EVA tape. There's more EVA tape in here which goes under these PCBs to protect them from touching the batteries. We've got hooks and latches to secure multiple batteries stacked on top of each other. 4 black handles for the side with spring mechanism. And of course, yes, the little plastic container with all the screws. That is such a nice touch from EEL all the time. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, and as mentioned, we have these 4 screws and this metal bracket. This might come in handy at some stage, I don't know. And here with the case, the same design as we have already seen with the 12-volt battery case. We can completely remove the front of the battery case and have access to the compression plate. You can see the frame structure inside for the battery cells. We've got a middle rail in between the battery rows, which gives us another mounting point for the compression plate and an even distribution of the compression force. We've got a closed back. Well, it is almost closed. It has some holes in it, but it's not the frame situation we have seen in other cases. There you can see it better. It looks like a Swiss cheese with these big holes, you know? So guys, first impression, it looks exactly identical to the 12-volt battery box. We've got the rails, we've got the PCBs across the cells. It is really the same great design, and it makes a lot of sense doing that. And I'm really, really glad that these companies have developed now a certain standard the community is very happy with. I've read all your comments under the 12-volt box video as well, and some people shared that they have multiple of these 48-volt boxes and are really happy with them. And I would really like to show you the other box which was coming from EEL as well, with some accessories for this box. But unfortunately one of the parts inside was not correct, so they have resent it now, and it takes maybe another 1-2 weeks or something until it arrives here. And then I will show you the accessories, what's in this box here. You can probably guess what it is. I had a quick look already, it looks amazing. But for now we want to fully concentrate on this 48-volt do-it-yourself box here. So the front plate has cutout for the display, breaker, power switch, terminals, all the communication, and that's pretty much it. What I've noticed is there's no ground screw anywhere. There's nothing on the side, no. Maybe on the back, no. Mr. EEL, we need a ground connection on the outside of this box, as your colleagues from Yixing have perfectly done here in the bottom right hand corner. And Google Power, for example, has them here in the top right hand corner. Seplos has a screw over here. There is nothing on the JK box either. See, I've never noticed actually. No, there's no. Just having a look here at the big JK box. No, there's no ground connection either. Here, looking at the back of the Seplos Polo batteries, we can see the ground screw over there. And I think all these 48-volt boxes, they should have one. And when you install these battery cases, connect them all to your earth or ground cable. So all the metal chassis, they have the same potential then. And I'm just looking at this battery box here and compare this with the website one. So this is the EEL JK version 4 battery box. But this one on the website doesn't have a display, while ours has. So I'm not 100% sure if this is a new modification, a 4.1 or something, but apart from that, everything else looks pretty much the same. I'm actually just skimming through the website in search for a manual to how to build this. Yeah, again, there's no printed manual, no QR codes, nothing, and I cannot find any documentation on their website. Well, I would really appreciate if we have some documentation, because not everyone has got the experience of building 29 of these boxes. So just a PDF document with some photos and explanations how to put this all together would be really nice. Whoa. Yo guys, this is Andy from the future. Of course, EEL has a manual with instructions to build this battery box. It is on their Google Drive. Unfortunately, they have 2 websites, and this link is only available on one of their websites, which is their My Shopify website. And this is also where you can see this version 4 of the do-it-yourself battery box with the 4.3-inch display, the JK BMS, and you can make all the selections, 150, 200 amp BMS with, without display, and also what kind of bus bars you want for double pole or just single terminals. So it's all good, we have instructions, we have the links, they are all down under the video as always. Okay, back to the video. See, at this stage I'm not sure which way around the terminal goes, this way or that way. And please always do yourself and me a favor and put some foam on the workbench if you work with these front panels. If you make a scratch or dent, tears will flow, and I'm not talking about the tears of joy. This foam also can act like a tool holder if you have to go and get yourself a new spat. There are some special holders included, and these holders, they hook into these two slots of the display. So, well, turns out, forget about these display holders. You have to use this bracket, which was in one of these envelopes. And you remove these screws on the back of the display and put this holder in place. And this basically clamps the display against the front panel. I'm not sure why there is only... Yeah, there was only one of these brackets in this envelope. Should there not be a second one? EEL, come on! Okay, the easy part obviously is the communication board, which just sits down here. And we need some of these smaller M3 screws. How is this supposed to work? The front panel needs to go between the switch and the nut. But how is this? Okay, it is a bit tricky to get this nut off, but it is possible. Okay, now we have to put it back on. The trick is you have to get this connector through this nut, like this. And then this connector connects to the display, and this one obviously to the JK Inverter BMS. And then here the usual cables with connectors to the communication board, and the other ends as well go to the JK Inverter BMS. Oh, my friends, I've got the disco light out because we have some quality issues here with the case, unfortunately. Look at this. If I'm touching here, I've got a gap here of about 10 millimeters. Easy. And if I touch here, I've got the gap over there. So something is not right with the middle rail. And we can clearly see that from the top, how the actual rail is bended. Let's see if I put the top one in. Oh. Oh, look at the gap there. I can poke my finger through. So it looks like the whole frame is not lining up between the outside and the middle frame. Okay, leave your comments down below if you have issues with the compression plate as well, or if this is just an isolated problem I have here for whatever reason, but it is not as well manufactured as I was hoping for. Could be a single problem only with this box here. Let us know down below. And mounting the circuit breaker is very straightforward. You click the circuit breaker into this bracket, and then here through the cutout in the front panel. See, at this stage I'm not sure which way around the circuit breaker should be mounted, but we try it like this first. And then there are these 4 plastic screws here holding the bracket against the lid on the other side. It even comes with this little thumb screw here, so you can actually secure the lid. And it cannot be opened easily unless you really undo the screw first, open the lid, and then turn off the circuit breaker. So it's a pretty nice solution actually, I like it. So, and this already concludes the mounting of all components to the front panel. So I've just mounted one row of batteries in this box. I've always put one epoxy sheet and one EVA tape in between, but I don't use them as sticky anymore. I just put them in between like the epoxy sheets as well, and don't glue them to the battery cell anymore. It is just a pain to get off again if you need to. And there's no advantage to glue this foam onto the battery cell. So if you stick it in between together with the epoxy sheets, that's totally fine. And from what I can see here at the front now, EVA foam as well as epoxy. And I've got the same at the very end as well. And I think we can just completely screw in the compression plate. Because here we've got about I would say 2 to 3 millimeters of difference between the frame and the actual battery cell. So when the force of the compression plate comes, it pushes in all these batteries here, the foam compresses a bit, and there's pretty much no need to torque these screws here anymore. You just screw them in all the way and you're done. The rest will be compensated by this EVA tape foam in between the cells. So that makes our life a lot easier as well. And honestly, it doesn't really matter if there is a bit of a misalignment now between the middle frame and the side frames of this case. If we screw them in all together, let me quickly do it. Okay, fully tightened against the frame, fully tightened against the frame. And we've got this gap here because something is not really lining up. But I don't think it makes a big difference in this case here. And the cells are still a tiny bit flexible. If I squeeze them together, you can see them moving here, but just a tiny bit, so that's all good. I think it gives it a perfect amount of compression now. And then we use these long strips of EVA tape foam and put them under these rails. So this is basically to isolate the metal of these rails against the battery. It's just a nice touch, so they don't touch. All right, and then the rail comes on top. I don't think they even touch. No, they're definitely not. So now I don't know which one goes which side. This is the B and this is the A. One has a black, one has a white connector. But I don't know which side, which one goes. Cell 16, so this is main positive. Cell number 1, main negative. Okay, it's too easy. I already figured it out. So mounting the BMS here on the compression plate. So the JK goes this way and has the B negative terminals up here. And I think, are you holding here? No, probably not. And I think they want me to use this bus bar they have sent. See these 2 holes there? They are lining up perfectly with the JK BMS. And then we've got these 3 holes here on top. So we can either use batteries with double pole terminals or single pole terminals. Pretty clever. So that means main negative is over here and the plug connectors go on the right hand side of the box. It says cell number 1. So A goes over here, B goes over there. Guys, welcome back to the show. For you it's just another few seconds. For me it was a whole night. It's a beautiful morning. Some minor clouds, which is nice, works as a diffuser for me. And with this beautiful weather, we have already 52 amps outside early in the morning. How nice is that? 54, 60 amps, 62. Oh my God, what is going on here? And this morning we want to continue building the EEL 48 volt do-it-yourself battery box. And last night we found out we can use these flexible bus bars. They have sent pre-delivery of this box. And I guess in the future they won't supply these silicon cables anymore. They will go with flexible bus bars. It just makes more sense. It is a cleaner installation. And I think from a cost of point, these flexible bus bars are actually a bit cheaper than these handmade silicon cables. But I don't know. So we have this one for the main negative. And we have this one here connecting to the P- of the JK BMS. And the other side connects to the negative terminal of your box. So we have installed this terminal the right way, but here on the other side, I think the positive needs to be mounted sideways. The box itself came with this small connection cable, which has this funny looking lug on one side going into the circuit breaker, and the other side connects to the terminal once this is twisted by 90 degrees. And they also supplied this connection cable here with the same flat lug for the circuit breaker. And this is then supposed to connect to your positive of the battery. But here as well, we've got an alternative. We can use this folded flexible bus bar, sits here in the circuit breaker, and this one then connects to your battery. And yeah, well, of course, to make this all work, we have to disassemble the circuit breaker again, because otherwise we cannot access the terminal screws of the breaker. And before I finalize this, I just want to catch your thought here on one thing. This bus bar here has been narrowed down to fit this actual circuit breaker terminal. So we are using only half of the actual bus bar area where it connects to the circuit breaker. Yeah, and if this is a 200 amp bus bar, we will have only 100 amp of material sitting here, which connects to the breaker. Is this a concern? Should they maybe have folded the bus bar into one thicker connector? So we are staying actually with the full area and diameter of this conductor, because I don't think this is the correct way of doing it. This is like using a flexible cable and cutting away some of the strands, so to make it fit into a smaller bootlace. You're basically reducing your effective conductor size. Let me know what you think about this. So, and before we continue with the build of this EEL a 48 volt battery, I want to investigate something people have brought to my attention, especially with the Xiang do-it-yourself box. There was a problem with the PCB having contact to the metal frame of this rail. And especially in these locations where a hole is directly under a track of the PCB, there was the possibility, oh no, this is actually a different solution here. See, the track is actually going around the mounting point, and apparently there was a quality issue with the Xiang do-it-yourself box where the track was not doing this, and the metal stud could actually work itself through the insulation material and get contact with the track. And then you have a random voltage depending on what cell this track is connected to. You have exactly this voltage on your battery case then, on the metal enclosure. This is not a problem here. All the tracks are going around the mounting points. So, and in one of the final steps, we should be able to connect all our communication cables to the BMS. As always, nothing new here. And now we just need to put the front panel in place. It goes from the underside into the negative terminal. Okay, this is a bit of a... How am I supposed to... I will find out how flexible this flexible bus bar actually is. Yeah, it is possible, but not very nice. So I think they need to reshape this flexible bus bar to make it a bit wider so we can connect it from the top. Nah, that's all right. Let's have a look inside this box. It's a bit cramped here, but it's not super tight, so we don't have any issues with bus bars touching the BMS or pushing against the display on the other side. So there is enough room for all the equipment and all the cables. All good. So positive obviously connects to the positive of your battery. Even this is the negative here. I didn't pay attention to the battery order. And this will be your main negative then, going to the BMS. Got the circuit breaker connected on one side. And yeah, see this? You can't probably see it. Let me see if I can take this one away. So now you can see it. It is a bit on an angle there. So the design of this flexible bus bar going to the negative terminal here is not the best. I probably would change the design of this flexible bus bar. Ah, and of course, I've totally forgotten to put these cables in. So there goes one over here. Ah, you have to be very careful with these PCBs because the mounting points are over here and your connector is here. And when you push in your connector, see how the whole PCB bends? So you have to put your finger under the PCB a bit when you push in these connectors. There are some pins here which are bended. Okay, it is in now. It took me a while to straighten up all these pins here. For some reason they were a bit bended. I don't know why. And we've got the same over here, supporting the PCB with your finger while you push in this connector. So this one works straight away. And we have to obviously connect these ones to the BMS as well. Okay, and now we are getting a lot tighter inside this compartment here. So I really have to push against the cables. Maybe these ones need to go under the flexible bus bar. Yeah. I'm not going to lie, guys. but this space is a bit cramped inside this battery box here. And I already know why. Here, the Yixiang battery box is exactly 740 millimeters long, while the EEL battery box is not even 700 long. So that is 40 millimeters of difference, and you can feel this in this space here. It still works, it's still okay, but I think it's good. It's all right. So just as a comparison here, the Seplos boxes are close to 750 millimeters. And the Google Power Do-It-Yourself box is 775 millimeters long. Wow, that's a long beast. Alright my friends, I just put the battery box on this side so we can see the underside, because there are 4 holes, very tiny M4 holes, each of the corner. And this is where these rubber feet are going in supposedly. But I really don't know which screws are actually... this is maybe where we have to use these 4. These are for the feet. And guys, with these tiny rubber feet here, I would highly recommend not mounting them unless you're going to stack these cases on top of each other, because then the whole box will sit on these rubber feet only. Oh, wow. I don't know how this is supposed to work. And with 100 kilos plus other boxes on top of them, I'm not sure if these feet will not get stuck into these holes from all the weight. Yeah, they really look a bit too tiny for my taste. I'm probably not going to use them at the moment. Alright my friends, I think it's time for a bit of a verdict about the EEL battery do-it-yourself kit box, 48 volt. Yeah, so from what I can see is this box is very high quality built. There are no issues with any mechanical structure apart from the bended compression plate situation in here. It could be a transport damage or something, I don't know. But apart from that, everything fits perfectly together. So again, very high quality from EEL battery. And in regards to this cabling, I think they are a bit in a process of change or something. So they're going away from all these silicon cables here back to flexible bus bars. We have only single terminals for positive and negative, and these double cable covers, if you want to call them like this. I think this is one of the rare occasions where a battery box has only a single terminal. Not sure how I should feel about this. If you connect only one cable, you can still touch the live conductor with your fingers. We've got a DC circuit breaker with a weatherproof cover. Not sure if this is necessary, but it's a nice touch. 200 amp JK Inverter BMS with a 4.3 inch display, all the communication ports down there, soft button to turn on the BMS. They also deliver the communication cable with the box and the flexible bus bars with the M3 threaded inserts for the balance cables. So that is really nice. And of course, the well-organized box with all these little compartments and containers to hold your screws. It is such a nice touch. Installing all the battery cells was no issue. Epoxy EVA tape in between. Fits perfectly. Compression plate screws all the way in. Gives us a nice snug fit. Not too tight, but not loose. PCBs, which connects all your balance cables to the battery cells. There was a bit of a quality issue with one of the connectors here. Some of the pins were bended, and I had to straighten them to get the connector actually in. And here again, all the holes are lining up perfectly. Well guys, and then you end up with one of the smallest 48 volt, 15 kilowatt hours batteries you can buy on the market right now. I would give the EEL 48 volt do-it-yourself kit a 4 out of 5. Very high quality and good material choices. And I think this is one of the smallest 48 volt, 15 kilowatt hour systems you can actually get on the market. It's got 2 carrying handles on each side, a hook and latch system to secure boxes stacked on top of each other. Yeah, I'm not convinced about this feet and hole system here. I think because these feet are conical, they get really stuck into these holes if you put pressure on them. And I'm not sure if you are able to remove them again if you stack multiple batteries on top of each other and they push these feet all the way into these holes. But yeah guys, some of you have multiple of these boxes. Let me know how you have stacked them. Have you used these feet or just the hook and latch system to secure them? Share your experience with this box please under the video. It's always appreciated, not just for me to read this, but for everyone else in the community as well. Because this again is one of the best do-it-yourself boxes on the market right now. And now let's talk about the Yixiyang battery box here as well. Which one is better? Which one do I like more? This one or the EEL 48 volt, because they are directly competitors. Well, as we have seen in one of the previous videos, the Yixiyang battery box is already pre-assembled. So a lot of issues which we had today with the EEL battery box are not even present anymore with this box, because everything is pre-mounted. BMS is mounted and cabled. There's far less work necessary with this box, while the EEL 48 volt box is a real do-it-yourself box. So everything needs to be done, all the connections need to be made yourself. And the Yixiyang is more bring your own batteries. Put your battery cells in, connect the balance cables, bus bars, and you're ready to go. Here we have the true spirit of do-it-yourself. And I think both of these boxes are fantastic solutions. So if you're looking into building your own battery with a 48 volt system, both of these boxes will satisfy your needs. There are just minor differences between these boxes, but overall, same design, same good quality. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all these wonderful people out there who are supporting the channel by leaving a comment, liking, sharing these videos on forums. And a special thanks goes always to these people who are becoming a channel member or donating to the channel, saying thank you. These people are a bit more beautiful. Thank you very much for all your support. All this combined makes these videos possible here. Until the next video, guys, when we do something completely different, really completely different, because we don't want to do any reviews of battery boxes for a while now. So in the next video we have to do something very different here. We want to continue working on the transformation of the off-grid garage, because the first month of winter is already gone and we have to finish this huge project before the next summer is here and it gets hot again. And guys, until then, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye.